Good morning, grade 4s and 5s. I'm making a video just for in case that you won't be able to join me during the meeting. We might miss it because of a power outage, okay? So I've sent you a timetable for the grade 4s and 5s, so you know exactly which subject we do on which day. So for example, Monday we do English and exactly which books you will need. Tuesday Afrikaans, Wednesday Math, Thursday we do life skills and social science, so it's 2 subjects. And Friday we do natural science and technology. Okay. Now I have a couple of expectations for our team meetings, okay? So first of all, you need to rise and shine. So our classes start at 8:15 until 2. Now please let me know if you cannot attend the meeting so that arrangements can be made. Be prepared and have your device charged. Your camera needs to be on. And please have all of your correct books ready so you can check the timetable that I've sent to you. Then you need to be presentable. So you can feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. Please have no distracting backgrounds and mute yourself when you are not talking to avoid disturbance and distracting our classmates. Okay. Then the last one is your classwork. Now you know exactly what formal assessments are. They are on your schedule. Everything that is in bold, they count for marks. Now they are due weekly. So if in week 2 you have one for Afrikaans, English and Math, those formal assessments need to come to me in that week 2, not in another week. I only mark it in the week that it is due. Then all classwork and activities should be sent to me via WhatsApp. You can just take a picture of your classwork and then just send it to me. Okay, so we're already in week 2. We're going to start with English today. So you have these little books, Blitz English. It's in front in your file. Now the papers are loose. We are going to bind them when we get back to school. The first thing that I want you to go to is page 12. It is verbs, okay? So we're going to be looking at finite and infinite verbs. So go to where the numbers are at the bottom, 1, 2, 3. So number 1 is finite verbs. So finite verbs are when you have a sentence where there is a subject and a tense. So for example, the boy played chess yesterday. The boy is the subject, what the sentence is about. Okay, and then the tense will be yesterday. Okay, so past tense. Then infinite verbs is a verb preceded by to. So whenever we have a sentence with to, so for example, to play, to run, to eat. Here is more examples for you. We have the sentence, the thief escaped again. So we have a subject and a verb that is in a specific tense. Or Sarah is crying with joy, once again a subject and then a verb in a specific tense. Now you get 3 types of non-finite verbs. We are just looking at infinite verbs, so the last column. So it's whenever you have words to cook, to eat, to play, to run. Whenever there's a to and then a verb, it's called infinite. Okay. Now we're going to be looking at concords. Now concords is something that's called subject-verb agreement. So where whatever the subject is, whatever the sentence is about, needs to be in agreement with the verb. Now let me show you in this example. We have one dog. Okay, because it's one, the verb now needs to be singular. Okay, so for example, is. One dog is sitting on the grass. But if we had 2 dogs in the next sentence, the verb needs to change. Okay, then it's going to change to plural because it's more than 1 dog. 2 dogs are sitting on the grass. Okay. Then the next thing we're going to look at is figurative language. Now, figurative and literal is pretty easy. Figurative language is when you say it's so hot you feel like you're melting. You can't melt because of the heat because you are human. You are not ice, but it's just a way of expressing how hot you feel. Okay, so let's look at a couple of examples. So literal descriptions is the grass is very green. But in figurative description, we would say the grass is spiky green hair. So it looks like spiky green hair, but we know it's not because the grass is just very green. That's why we say it, okay? Or we say the sand feels rough. If we say it in a figurative way, touching sand is like rubbing your hands across a cheese grater. Okay. Then the last one, the car sends out a puff of smoke from its muffler, or the car farted out black smoke when it took off. Okay. Now let's quickly just revise some punctuation. We get the full stop, we use it at the end of the sentence. Question marks, we use at the end of a question sentence. A comma is used to denote a pause in a sentence. Exclamation mark is used to denote shock, surprise, anger, or when you raise your voice. Quotation marks are used to show that someone else has said it. Colon is used to indicate what is to follow, and a semicolon is used to link two independent clauses, so two sentences are linked. Then apostrophe is used to show possession or for contractions of words. Okay. Then a hyphen is used to glue words together. A slash is used to separate letters, numbers, or words. Ellipsis mark is used to separate items in a series, and round brackets are used to add extra information in a sentence. Now we're just revising this, so don't worry about having this page or looking through your book. We're just revising it for today. Now we're going to talk about narrative essays. Okay, so the most important thing you need to know about a narrative essay is that it tells a story. So it's a story. So you start with something like once upon a time or very long ago. It's like a storybook that you would tell. Okay, so most times the story would be personal, told from your unique perspective and point of view. Okay, the story you may choose to tell can be about almost anything you would like to share with your readers, your school, your family, or whoever. So about anything. Okay, a narrative essay can be told in words, as it is often the case, or in other mediums such as photos or films. But we don't do photos or films, we just do essays, okay? So in a good narrative essay, the reader relates closely to the story and feels involved with the plot and often identifies with the characters. A good story is hard to put down, and the reader feels a sense of loss when it ends. The features of a narrative are the plot. This is what happens during the story. The characters are the people and the animals in the story. The setting is where it takes place, and the theme is sort of the message that you want to send through this story, okay? So remember, it's like a storybook, okay? But it's not a whole storybook because it's just the essay. You would usually have about not more than 100 words that you need to write a narrative essay in, okay? So let's quickly look at the activities that you need to do for today. So you can look on your schedule, but you can look here as well. So you have question 2 on page 21, language exercise on page 24, question 1 to 2 on page 29, question 1 on page 39. Then you have a formal assessment, which is a reading comprehension. Now the formal assessment I want you to do in your book. So usually we do them on a separate piece of paper when we are at school, but I want you to do it in your book. I will mark it in your book. It will be easier so that you don't lose it, okay, before you come to school. Then grade 4s, you have question 1 to 3 on page 5, a reading comprehension on page 6 to 7, and a creative writing on page 8, and a language practice on page 9. Okay, so this is all of the things that you need to do for today. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I will be joining on MS Teams as soon as I'm capable of joining MS Teams. But for now, you can work with this. And if you have any questions, you feel free to WhatsApp me as well. You can WhatsApp me personally with any questions that you might have if you're not sure what you are doing. Okay, good luck.